Hello there everyone and welcome back to Let's Make a Mod. In the last episode I covered how to create some basic weapons such as the bow, broadsword, the short sword and the staff. And in today's episode I'm going to be going over creating a yo-yo, creating a shotgun, modifying our bow so it shoots a custom arrow. And also we're going to use the bow to create a custom ammo type. So first thing I'm going to be doing is showing you how to make the yo-yo. So first we're going to go to add class and we're going to do Foolsite yo-yo. Here we're just going to do spell using Terraria, using Terraria.id, using Terraria.Modloader, we're going to have to make a reference this later, projectiles dot Foolsite. This is going to be underlined for a bit, and then using Microsoft.xna.framework maybe. I don't see where. Oh yeah, I do. Never mind. Okay. The first thing we're going to do is turn this into an item. And we're going to first go public, override, set static default. So we're going to be setting some parameters in here. So we can do item ID dot sets dot yo-yo of item dot type equals true. Item ID dot sets dot gamepad extra range of item dot type equals, we'll do 16. Item ID dot sets dot gamepad smart quick reach of item dot type equals true. So what this is doing is similar to staff, where setting so the item is marked as a yo-yo. If you're on a gamepad, you get extra range on the yo-yo and the smart quick reach. I'm not entirely sure. I've never used the gamepad with modding. Now we're going to do public override set defaults. We can send item.size, set this to 40. Item.melee equals true, because for some reason yo-yos are melee items instead of ranged, which I find strange. So I guess doesn't matter. Insert damage, knockback, we'll do something like that. Item.crit will do 4. So let me set that. So we're going to be doing item.no use graphic equals true, item.no melee equals true, and item.channel equals true. Channel items are ones that stay active while the mouse button is down. So while the mouse button's down, you're able to move the yo-yo around, but if you release, the yo-yo returns to the there. Scroll down. Use stats. Item.use time equals 24. Item.use animation will do 24 as well. Item.use style equals item use style ID dot hold in out. Item dot use sound equals sound ID dot item will do 43. What's down on my reference sheet? Then we're going to do item dot shoot equals mod content dot projectile type of, and it's going to be Foolsite yo-yo projectile. Item.value equals item.buy price. Do something like that. Item.var equals item rarity ID.blue. This is the basic yo-yo. This is pretty much all you need. If you want to add a recipe, you can. I'm not going to do it for this example. But now we need to create the projectile. So, and go into our projectiles, Foolsite. I'm going to add a new class, Foolsite, Yoyo, projectile. I'm also going to have to rename the texture. And like before, using Terraria, using Terraria.Modloader, using Terraria.id, and using Microsoft.xna.framework. So for this, we're going to extend mod projectile. Public override set static defaults. This time projectile ID dot sets dot yoyo's lifetime multiplier of projectile dot type equals. This is how long the yo-yo stays out before returning to player. So the wood one stays out for 3 seconds or something like that, apparently. -1 makes it infinite. So depending on what value you want or how long you want it out for, what value I'm going to do 5.5f. Projectile ID dot sets dot yoyo's maximum range of projectile dot type equals, and this is going to be how far the yo-yo can go. So wood goes 130 while the Terrarian goes 400. So I'm going to do 250f for this. Projectile ID dot sets yo-yo's top speed. Self-explanatory this one. How fast it goes. Then do 13f for this. Wood is 9. The Terrarian is 17.5. Now we're going to do public override set defaults projectile dot extra updates equals 0. Projectile dot width equals 16. Projectile dot height equals 16. You can do projectile dot size for this as well. I think I've been using size for all of them, so I'm just showing you another way you can do it. Projectile dot AI style equals, you can do 99. This is used for all yo-yos. Projectile.friendly equals true. This means that the projectile will only hurt enemies. It will not hurt the player or NPCs. Projectile.penetrate equals -1. This means that it will not destroy itself when it hits an enemy. Projectile.melee equals true because it's the damage type. And projectile.scale equals 1f. The size of the graphic as it scales. 0.5 would be half size, 2 would be double. I'm going to show you how to modify the AI slightly. You can only do either before the AI runs or after it runs. You cannot change the AI in the middle of it running when using AI styles. If you want to do that, you have to completely write the AI yourself. So public override post AI, and we're going to make it spawn dust. If main.ran.next ball, this means if the next thing that pops up is a 1, then this will run. If it's 0, it won't. We're going to create some dust. So dust equals, like spelled, dust dot new dust direct, and we can do projectile dot position projectile.width, projectile.height, and I'm just going to do the 16th type. We'll cover custom dust later in the future, so we're using an existing dust type that exists. So we'll see how this goes. So first we've got no gravity, so it will not fall. The scale I'm going to do main.rand.next between 70 and 130 multiplied by 0.01. So basically 100 times this would be 1. This would be 0.7. This would be 1.3 for the scale. Dust.color equals, and I'm just going to do color dot do magenta. There's the Yoyo dust spawning. And let me just bring up the picture of the projectile itself. As you can see, it's a bit smaller and different than the original. With that, we now have our Foolsite Yoyo done. So next, I'm going to show you how to create a shotgun. What I'm going to do is go weapons, add, class, Foolsite shotgun, and I'm just going to copy over everything from the bow. And just need to get the values correct, just make sure it's all right. Yes, that looks right. Item.shoot needs to be changed to something like 10, and the ammo ID will change to bullet. So basically everything's the same as a bow, but this time public override shoot. So we're going to do int num projectiles equals, and we're going to do between 3 and main.ran.next, and we'll do between 3 and, let's do 3 and 7, or that's 3 and 6. Can't actually remember. It doesn't really matter. You'll see the spread anyway. Anyway, we do a for loop of the number of projectiles. Vector 2 was new vector 2 speed x and speed y, and we're doing rotated by random, and we do open brackets math helper dot to radians, and we're doing 30 degrees. You can make this bigger. 45 will make it spread 45 degrees. 180 would, I think it does all directions. 90 would basically be directly in front, above and below the player. The 30 is a nice number to use. Projectile.new projectile of position dot x position dot y turbed speed dot x turbed speed dot y, and then we do type damage knockback and player dot who am I, and that's all you have to do to create that, except I forgot to do return false. You need to return false at the end, otherwise it will also shoot the default. But because we've written the shotgun spread, we're creating the projectiles with that, so we don't create the original. That's the shotgun done. So now let's go to create and modify our staff a bit. So this is currently shooting the amethyst bolt. So I'm going to be writing a custom projectile code for this. We can do In the projectiles, Foolsite, add class, Foolsite staff projectile. And again, I need to rename this using Terraria.id. Don't actually think we need that. Modloader. And I need to just open it up here. Okay. Using Microsoft.xna.framework and using system. Mod projectile, public class, public override set defaults. Just do the usual, enter the size. It's friendly. Magic. It will last 10 seconds. It ignores the water, but collides with tiles. We don't give it AI style as we're writing our own. Public override AI. What we're going to do is we're going to make it go in a set direction before we apply gravity. So we're going to increase the AI by 1 each tick. If it's greater than or equal to 30, then we can start slowing down the projectile. And we're going to do it very slowly. So velocity.x is lowered. If our y velocity is less than 0, we're going to do projectile.velocity.y times equals 0.95. So we're making it slow down while it's heading upwards, so it gets to the point where it will start to apply gravity. If float, the absolute value of projectile.velocity.y is less than 0.2f. Now we're going to reverse the velocity of, well, the y velocity. So we're going to do projectile.velocity.y equals minus projectile.velocity.y. So if this is at minus 0.1, it will become 0.1. Now, after this, we're doing the else. We're going to make sure gravity gets applied. We're not going to have a max, so we can do times equals 1.05f. This will continue getting faster and faster until it hits the floor or an enemy, and so on. And again, you can create some dust. Let me just see what I did here. I'm going to actually copy this because it's the same code as the other one. So in a random of 3, we create the dust at the position, width, height, and type. 16 again. No gravity, color. This time it's still magenta. Scale is either 0.8 or 1. That's all we need for that. So let's go back over to our Foolsite stuff, and in item.shoot we do mod content dot projectile type of Foolsite staff projectile. Now, something you can do, if you have a red line, you can press Control period, or I don't know what the Mac or the other ones are. Then you can do using Foolsite projectiles mod projectiles.foolsite. It will automatically add it here when clicking on it, and now this is valid. So now we can save that, and we have our projectile. Now I'm going to show you how to create a custom arrow. As you can see, we use the ammo ID of arrow for the bow. So Do add a class, Foolsite arrow, and I just need to open that in here using Terraria, using Terraria.modloader, using Terraria.id, using Microsoft.xna.framework, using projectiles Foolsite. We pass in mod item. I think I need to do fools mod projectiles. Makes me think there might be an error in here. Yes, there is. We need to just change this to Foolsite, not Foolsite, fools mod projectiles. Okay, that fixed that. That was my bad. So public override set defaults item.size equals new vector 2 10 by 28 item.ranged equals true. It's an arrow. Item.damage and knockback. We need to give it a max stack of 9999. We need to also make it a consumable item. Now we need to set the projectile that it can shoot. So mod content dot projectile type, and we'll do Foolsite arrow projectile item dot shoot speed equals, we'll do 3.5 f for this. Item dot value equals item dot buy price. Do silver 8. Good spell. Item dot rare equals item rarity ID blue, and item dot ammo, because it's an arrow, we can do ammo ID dot arrow. That's pretty much all you need. Let's create the Foolsite arrow. Again, I need to rename this. I'm also going to quickly rename the bolt as well. So what we're going to be doing here is creating the arrow using Terraria.modloader, using Terraria.id, and using Microsoft.xna.framework. So again, mod projectile, public class, public override set static defaults again, and this time we're going to be projectile ID dot sets trail cache length of projectile dot type equals 5, and projectile ID dot sets dot trailing mode of projectile dot type equals 0. So what this does, it's basically handling the way arrows have that sort of trailing effect. At least I believe this is what it does. I haven't really checked the source code for this. So with 5, it kind of gives it a bit of a blur behind the arrow. So set defaults. Projectile.size equals new vector 2 of 1028. Projectile.ai style equals 1. Projectile.friendly equals true. Projectile ranged equals true. We're going to make the arrow penetrate 3. Nor water. We're going to give it some extra updates. This means it sends extra. It updates multiple times and sends extra information. arrow equals true, and then AI type equals projectile ID dot wooden arrow friendly. And what we're going to do is make it so when this arrow hits an NPC, it will apply a buff. So public override on hit NPC. If no target has buff ID, we're going to do poisoned. Then we do target.add buff of buff ID dot poisoned. Nice spelling, nice deleting. And we're going to do for 5 seconds, so that's 300. Just move that to there. And then we need to close that off. Now we have a arrow created. We can jump into Terraria. I just want to make sure this is all correct. Yep. So let's jump into Terraria. Okay, so I'm gonna build and reload Tools mod. Hopefully it doesn't show any errors. Okay. Test character, I'll go into here. Now we need to go to item browser. I need Foolsite arrow. That's the Foolsite arrow here. Foolsite bow. Foolsite shotgun. Foolsite staff. Foolsite yo-yo. Let's start with the bow. As you can see, the arrow shoots and flies, and as soon as it hits the floor, it's destroyed. If I shoot it up in the air, it's actually going a bit too fast, I think. So you can't exactly see the effect of it slowing down. I might have made a mistake in the code. Take a quick look. It's in the arrow projectile. No, it's in the bow projectile, isn't it? Bow item. Because the bow's got a high shoot speed, the arrow shoots really far. So we created custom AI for the Foolsite staff. So if we shoot that, see it flies in the air, and then it applies gravity. So again, shoot, slows down, and now plummet staff. Next, the yo-yo. See, goes a set distance, lasts a certain amount of time. As you can see, I haven't let go of the button. Holding down left mouse and it returns to player. You can also see the dust. I'm now in different sizes. And I just need to add some bullets. And we'll switch over to the shotgun. As you can see, it shoots multiple projectiles. Might be a bit hard to see, but there are multiple there. I might do a freeze frame when editing just so you can see the red, but as you can see, none of them go real straight, so better for bigger targets than a single butterfly. And now we're gonna just create another ammo type, because we're going to use the bow for this. And do add new class, Foolsite bolt, and what I'm going to do is just copy all this here. If that's the correct name. And what we're doing is item.ammo equals item.type. So the Foolsite bow, Foolsite bolt is going to be the designated item that has the ammo equipped. Then we're going to just go into projectiles. I'm just going to copy and paste the arrow projectile, Foolsite bolt projectile. Let's copy all this here. It'll work like an arrow, but the texture will be different. Just easier to show you this. And for the bow, first we're going to set mod content dot projectile type to the Foolsite bolt projectile. And like before, we need to add that. And for use ammo, mod content dot item type of Foolsite bolt, not the projectile, it's the bolt. And again, need to just add that in. And if we go to item mod, we now have a bolt here. I've just realized I didn't scale up the texture. That's my fault. As you can see, we have 981 Foolsite arrows, but the bow is saying 999, whereas we have 999 Foolsite bolts. And because I forgot to resize, you can see that it's flying up quickly. Let's just save and exit, and I'll just fix this, reload it. Textures are now correct. As you can see, we have the correct size arrow now, or bolt, and it flies in the air like it should. The size is a bit off because you can see it not exactly hitting the stuff correctly. That's fine. So that's how you create there's a few different weapons, a few projectiles as well. So hopefully you have found this video interesting, and hopefully you've learned something. Some of these were requested by people that have had troubles, like for example the shotgun has been asked for a few times, the custom ammo type was asked for, and some projectile AI stuff was asked for anyway. So thank you for watching. If you have got any suggestions, be sure to leave them. And until the next episode, thank you everyone for watching, and goodbye.